Your life is every rank in a Mexican cartel. You control $400 million in annual revenue, and you haven't slept in 4 days because 2 of your plaza bosses just stopped answering their phones. In this organization, silence means one of 3 things. They've been arrested, they've been killed, or they've decided to become a problem. You don't know which yet, but you know that by the end of the week, you will. And so will they. But to understand how you got to this table, we need to go back to the beginning. Level 1, the halcon. You're 14 years old and your job is to watch a corner. That's it. You sit on a wall or lean against a storefront or idle on a bicycle, and you watch. If a car you don't recognize slows down, you send a message. If a police unit turns onto the block, you send a message. If anything changes in the pattern of a street you have memorized down to which dogs bark at which hours, you send a message. You make $40 a week for this. To you, at 14, in a neighborhood where your alternatives are school with no future attached to it, or a factory job that pays less than what you're making now, $40 feels significant. The man who hired you is not important. He reports to someone who reports to someone who reports to someone. And that chain goes up so many levels that the people at the top have never heard your name and never will. You are not a person to the organization yet. You are a position, a set of eyes on a corner that costs $40 a week and can be replaced in an afternoon. You don't know this. You think you've been chosen. You think the man who gave you the phone and explained the signals saw something in you specifically. He did not. He saw someone young enough to be invisible to law enforcement, local enough to know the street, and poor enough to say yes. Your friend Mateo starts the same week on the corner 2 blocks north. You don't see him often, but knowing he's there makes the whole thing feel less like what it is. Level 2. The soldado. 18 months later, you are no longer watching corners. You are doing collections. A list of names, a list of amounts, a route through 3 neighborhoods, and a phone number to call when it's done. The people on the list pay without incident most of the time because the alternative to paying is already understood by everyone involved without needing to be explained. Twice in the first month, someone doesn't pay. Both times you call the number, and 2 other men handle it while you wait outside. The third time someone doesn't pay, they hand the situation to you. You handle it. You tell yourself it was necessary. You are correct. It was necessary. What you don't tell yourself is that after the 3rd time, it stops feeling like anything. The money is better now. Enough to send some home, enough to wear something new, enough to feel like you're moving in a direction. The exit option that existed at level 1, where you could have simply stopped showing up one day and gone back to being nobody, is no longer available. You know too much about the route, the names, the amounts. The organization doesn't hold this over you explicitly. It doesn't need to. Mateo has been moved to a different operation in a city 2 hours north. He calls sometimes. He sounds different. You probably do too. Level 3. The Sicario. You are 21. The man who runs your cell asks if you want more responsibility. In this context, more responsibility has a specific meaning that both of you understand without saying. You say yes, because by this point saying no to this question is itself an answer with consequences. The work is what the work is. You are efficient and careful, and you do not make mistakes, which in this profession is the entire definition of professional. Federal agencies in 2 countries now have a file that contains a physical description, a nickname, and a list of suspected activity. They do not have your name yet. They will. The thing that changes at this level is not the violence, which you have made your peace with in the way that people make peace with things they cannot change. The thing that changes is the permanent reclassification of what you are. At level 1, you were a kid watching a corner. At level 2, you were a collector, which exists in a gray space that a good lawyer and a story about economic desperation might have navigated. At level 3, there is no gray space. There is no lawyer story. There is no version of your biography that doesn't include this. You are now what you are, completely, with no remaining distance between yourself and the organization. Mateo calls once more around this time. You don't call back. It's better for him that way. Level 4. The Plaza Lieutenant. You are 26. You run logistics for a territory that moves product across 3 transit points, manages 14 street-level operations, and generates enough monthly revenue that the number feels fictional the first time someone says it to you out loud. You have people below you now. You manage schedules, disputes, supply chain problems, personnel issues. The job is, structurally, middle management. If you extracted the product and the violence and dropped the operational skeleton into a legitimate industry, it would look like a regional distribution company with a staffing problem and an unusual approach to contract enforcement. The federal task force that has been building a case against your organization for 3 years adds your name to their primary target list this month. You don't know this. You're managing a shortfall in one transit corridor and a dispute between 2 soldados that is going to become a problem if it isn't resolved by Thursday. At this level, the idea you carried through levels 1 and 2, that the organization is a family, something that chose you, something that operates on loyalty, begins to show its actual structure beneath the surface. You start to understand that the men above you do not see loyalty. They see productivity. They see the numbers your territory generates, and they compare those numbers to what the territory could generate under different management. You are not family. You are an asset, a productive one, which is the only kind that survives here. Level 5. The Plaza Boss. You are 31. 2 men who sat at the level you now occupy are dead. One was killed by rivals who moved into a corridor he left exposed. The other was killed by the organization itself for reasons that were explained to everyone below him as a business decision, which is exactly what it was. You control a region. Federal agencies in 3 countries have surveillance on your known associates, your known properties, and 3 phone numbers that you stopped using 8 months ago when you notice the pattern of small disruptions that indicates you are being watched without confirming it. You sleep in a different location most nights. You trust 3 people, and you verify everything all 3 of them tell you. Paranoia at this level is not a psychological condition. It is the most rational possible response to your environment. The men above you watch your revenue numbers every month. A good month is noticed and unremarked. A bad month generates a conversation you do not want to have. The 2 plaza bosses who stopped answering their phones this week reported to you. You have not slept in 4 days. This is the cold open. Now you understand what that silence means at this level. It means that somewhere in the structure above you or beside you, a decision has been made that you haven't been informed of yet. And in this organization, the decisions you aren't informed of in advance are the ones that concern you directly. Level 6, the seat at the table. You are 34. You did not get here by being the most violent, though you have been that when it was required. You did not get here by being the most loyal, though you performed loyalty at every level with enough consistency to survive. You got here by being the most useful for long enough, and by being present when the men above you were removed by arrest or by rivals, or by the organization itself, and by making every decision in those moments correctly. The money at this level is a number that has stopped meaning anything. You move it through structures built by accountants and lawyers who understand exactly what they're doing and are paid enough to continue understanding it. The operation runs because systems run it, not because you personally manage each piece. Your job now is decisions, strategic ones. Which corridor to prioritize? Which official to maintain? Which rival organization to negotiate with and which to eliminate? Which of the men below you is becoming too powerful too quickly? The federal indictment has been sealed for 6 weeks. 12 agencies across 4 countries contributed to it. It names 47 individuals. Your name is at the top. You don't know this yet. You're thinking about the two plaza bosses who stopped answering their phones and the decision you've already made about what that silence means and what needs to happen next. You have been in this organization for 20 years. At level 1, the exit option was walking away and going back to being nobody. You didn't take it. At every level after that, the exit options became fewer and more final. At level 6, there are 3 ways out. You have watched predecessors take all 3. Prison, a rival's decision, or the organization's own. You climb toward the top of systems like this one, believing that height means safety, that control means freedom. It doesn't. It means you are now the most valuable and the most exposed piece on the board simultaneously. The corner you watched at 14 felt like the bottom of something. It was actually the last moment you were small enough to be overlooked. That's the only kind of safety this system ever offered. And you left it behind for $40 a week and the feeling that someone had chosen you. They hadn't. They never do. They just needed someone on that corner. And you were there.